Good stuff. Good morning, Russell. Russell's doing his BFR today. That again, that's his card. Now we've got a few questions as a briefing prior to going for a flight. Now you haven't flown for a while, I assume?
No, it has been a while, since late last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any particular reason? Or?
Because my BFR wasn't current.
Oh, well, that'll do it. That would do it. Okay. Now your knowledge is up to date with a 9532 for pad parachutes?
Yes.
You can download the 9532 on the new websites and.
Yeah, I have a copy of that.
Good.
Yep.
Good. That's one part we're going to do.
Yep.
Your endorsements on your ratings itself. You've got a passenger rating, Group A and D. You've done your humans factors, tailwind. You got your two-stroke endorsement. You got everything. Now, in your passenger rating, we'll have a quick one on the passenger briefing. Can you just show me how you brief a passenger before you go for a flight?
Oh, you just talk to the passenger about how to strap them in,
yep,
and how to conduct themselves during the flight.
Yep.
Where to keep their arms and legs during the flight, what to touch, what not to touch.
Yep.
How to prepare them if there's going to be an engine failure, for argument's sake, or some sort of emergency, what we'll do, how we'll go through it.
Yep.
If we have an engine failure after takeoff, we'll go through a briefing of what we're going to do and what we'll do after that. We'll tell them where to put their arms and legs basically within the aircraft, and what not to touch and what they can touch, and how to conduct themselves,
yep, basically.
Also,
just have a quick one on their welfare before you go with their nerves.
Yep. If they're sick, just reassure them if there's any nerves there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
And that'll save them being sick.
Yeah.
Yearly. Flying yearly, the skill levels, if you don't fly constantly, your skill levels do drop.
Yeah.
Because you haven't flown for a duration of time, you really do a bit of a situation awareness on everything, get everything prepared before you go for a fly. Everything like radios, your headsets, and when you actually go for a flight, it's actually starting the aircraft, warming it, do your pre-flight and then fly.
That's right,
and don't do anything silly at the start, just do your nice long approaches and stuff until you're actually comfortable with what you're doing again.
Yep.
And try to keep recent. Recent. Get up every few
months. I do normally. I normally fly every couple of months, except because of the VFR has held me up.
Yep. Precautionary search and forced landing. Tell me how you would approach it.
If you're going to do a precautionary search and forced landing, you would generally overfly the area that you want to land on at an elevated height, a couple of 100 feet. You do a search of the area. You check for maybe rocks and stumps and holes and the big things at those heights, power lines, poles, roads, fences, things like that.
Power lines we don't see.
Power lines you don't see, you generally look for the poles, and you watch how any, generally if you're out in the country, there's usually a line going to a house somewhere, so you generally tend to keep a little away from the house, particularly between roads and houses.
Oh, beautiful.
Then you'll do another pass at around 50 feet, and then you look for the smaller items such as rabbit holes, ditches, stumps, rocks, fences, fence posts, anything that may be hidden under grass, any obstructions, even plough lines and so forth in the land that you're going into, and cattle or animals and things as well.
Yeah, they can be a bit of a
So you do a low pass and then you go around and then you do your landing, conduct your landing.
Yeah, a little bit higher if you're up high, anything up above 500 feet.
Yeah.
Just smoke your wind direction.
Yeah, check your wind direction, smoke. You can check for smoke. Water on dams, dust off roads, things like that can give you wind direction cues.
Yeah, that's all good there. Human factor element keys. Do you know any human factor element keys?
The human factor element keys. Well, it's complacency and safe. It's just situational awareness.
Yep, that's good.
You need to know what's going on around you, and
situation awareness is actually a good one. I like.
Yeah.
As we're flying, and it's nice and relaxing as we come in, sometimes we become complacent. So we use the situation awareness as you actually coming into land, like the windsock, direction.
Yep.
You're coming in, any obstructions, anybody taking off on the CTAF, anybody taking off and landing, listening to your radio.
Yeah, you keep you listening out on the radio. That's right.
It's a real kind of a switch on thing, but it's great. There's a few other elements here. It's human limitations.
Yes, but you got to know about, you got to know if you're healthy and up to it, and you've got the, you're feeling well enough on the day, and you're not don't have any other issues, but could be both physically and mentally. So you make sure you're physically, mentally, and physically healthy and ready to go, and you're not. You're not flying under any duress or anything.
Well, that's good. That's good, because if you're stressed out or you're fatigued, then we don't concentrate as much. Our concentration level does go down, drop a heap, and it becomes dangerous. So we do forget things.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Yeah.
There's a couple of others. There's error management. If you're up there, and how would you manage? Say, for instance, you had an engine out. How would you manage that?
Well, engine out, the first thing, and prior to any of an engine out, when you're flying, you should be always looking at places where you can land.
Correct.
It's something I always do when I'm flying. I always look. If the engine stops now, that's where I'm going to go. So you keep an eye out for good places to land. If you have an engine out, then the first thing you should be looking at, well, you should already know the wind directions, and of course you'd make a mayday call if you had an engine out. A standard mayday call, and you conduct the landing into the best possible field in the best possible way you can, preferably into wind, if you can.
You can manage if you have time. It's always due to time on your management itself. Probably pre-start, maybe try pre-starting an aircraft would be a good idea. Have a look at well, you should have enough fuel in it.
Yes.
Look at your fuel management, you look at your temperature management, try pre-starting it. If you have time.
You have time, you pre-start. If you don't, you make a couple of attempts, and then that's it. You set yourself up for landing and fly the aircraft.
Absolutely. I think we've done decision making. This is a good one for to do decision making. Say on a day before you fly. Do you fly on that day? How do you? So this is part of decision making.
Yep.
How would you approach for a normal day's flight?
Well, if I was going to go flying tomorrow, for argument's sake, the first thing I'd be checking would be the weather. Making sure the weather is okay.
How do you determine your weather?
Well, I could usually go on to the bomb weather. And go on to Met-Eye or somewhere like that, which gives you wind
fantastic.
Which gives you wind direction, or even Willy Weather, which all have their information from the same place. But, I look at what the weather's doing from that local area, and if I've flown in that area before, I've got a bit of an idea of what the conditions may be like. And of course, I generally make sure I've got all of my equipment is in top shape, ready to go for the next day. Batteries are charged, radios, and the machine's got the right fuel, and I do a pre-flight check before you fly, but you make sure your equipment's ready to go, and you can have a good fly if everything's ready to go.
So
and you're
fuel
prepared.
burnage was a good one. How much fuel per hour does your machine burn?
Well, mine's the Rotax 582, and it runs a little less than 20 litres an hour, but I allow for 20 litres an hour is a good indication. It's a good burn. I'd use a little bit more if two people are on board, if you're into wind, or depending on the conditions of the day, but 20 litres per hour is a good one.
Good coverage on the elliptical chute system.
And I've got a large tank on mine, a 55 litre tank, so I've got an idea of how far I can go and how long I can fly on the fuel that I've got. So I always make sure I've got enough to do the flight that I want to do, plus some reserves of 40 minutes or so.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm happy with that. The recognised controlled space, like a prohibited area, say for instance.
A prohibited area is it's usually marked on the VNCs and sometimes VTCs as well. It's an area you just don't go in. There could be many different reasons. There could be an environmental area for maintaining wildlife or something, or it could be a military area. It could be blasting around quarries and things like that. They have prohibited areas, so you're not allowed to go in them.
And there's a little symbol.
There's a red P.
Generally, and you'll see it on the VNC charts and stuff like that as well. You can go to get it from other sources like Air Services Australia.
Yep.
That's a good place
You go
to
to the
get
website.
any kind of information there for any kind of pre-flying. You know, if it's anything in the air like a drone or anything like that, you could do that as well. So it's just that, especially powered parachutes, we can jump from state to state in different places, and a lot of the guys aren't familiar with what's happening. So good to actually contact Air Services Australia itself and just find out what's going on in that area, or look at your VNC chart or anything like that. You know. Well, there's a lot of information out there. Meteorology, I think we pretty much covered that. Do you look for a dominant high or do you look for a dominant low?
Well,
to fly?
powered parachute, you generally go, dominant highs and lows are probably both good because sometimes you can get, it's the wind really, you want to make sure the wind is okay. Dominant highs are good because they're usually in the mornings when powered parachutes fly, it's usually fairly calm, and you can generally tend to predict
when it's going
what
to
the
happen.
conditions and when that's going to happen. So we generally fly early in the morning, so we're up and flown and down again before the wind. Any wind usually gets up anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Met-Eye, and it will show.
Met-Eye is good for wind direction and strength,
Yep.
which is great.
Yep.
We use that.
And if you look at the isobars on it, the further apart,
Further out apart, the less wind there is usually.
the better it is for us.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think we pretty much covered it for our pre-flight briefing. We'll go out there and you can show us how you check your aircraft and all your briefings and how you can brief a passenger while we're out there and all that kind of stuff. And everything's easy.
Good.
Don't stress out. It's all a lot of fun. So
Okay,
that's
then.
how we try to do it.
No worries.
To our next step, we'll do all our administration now. That's it.